If you want to have a secure retirement, you absolutely must seriously consider having that retirement income pay out tax-free, all of it, or the majority of it. And in this video, you're going to learn why this is so important. And this applies to you no matter what age you are. Stand by for a video where you're going to see and hear a lot of things that you may not be aware of. In retirement, the government has something called RMDs, required minimum distributions, and that just means that one of these days, if you have a 401k, IRA, or other type of government qualified retirement plan, you're going to be forced to take out income whether you want to or need to. And they have their own schedule of how much you have to take out, and you're locked into it. So what I've done is put in some numbers here. A person that's born in 1959 or 66 years old, they have $375,000 in a retirement plan, and they're making 6% or returning 6% a year as far as growth. In this calculator and others, you can't really change, how much that percentage of growth is when you're retired and during the accumulation years. So it's going to stay at 6% the whole time. Also, in all these types of calculators, if you put in whatever rate of return, if I put in 6%, it's going to show 6% every single year. We know that the market doesn't act that way. It shows 6% compounding interest. We know there's no such thing as compounding interest in the stock market. Stock market's up, down, sideways. If you make money, there's no guarantee you're going to keep it. Whereas in compound interest, remember, when you make money in compound interest, it's locked in. You keep it, you never lose it. That does not happen in the market, but this is the way we have to show it. Also, 6%. Some of you are saying, well, that's not very good return. That's a great return when you consider after fees. This is a net return. Most 401ks and IRAs have 1.5%, 2% fees. If you're working with a fee-based financial advisor, 1.5%, 2.5%. If you get 6% on average, you're doing well. So I have a 6% return here. The person is married, spouse, he was born in 55. So for this person, their required minimum distribution age is 73. If you're born in 1960 or later, it's 75. But here is 73. Growth of that account, by that time, it's reached 543,788. And they're required at that point to take out $20,073. They don't have a choice. They have to take it. And this is before tax money. Before tax money. On the right, you see them taking the account value continues to go up every year, even though they're required to take this money out, because it's showing a 6% compound interest every year. Again, never is going to happen that way. It doesn't show any losses. Again, it never happens that way, because I want you folks to remember that for every 10 years of the market, there's about 3 times that the market is going to be negative. And every time that market is negative, you have to crawl out of the hole to break even again and to begin growing in value again. So none of this, what you're seeing, is the way it's going to work, but that's the way these calculators operate. Even so, even if you're making 6% compounding interest a year, I want you to see that by the time you get around age 84 to 85, you start to draw down that account. You go from 618,561 to 618,856, slight increase. But at age 85, it goes to 617,309, and it keeps going down every year after that as these RMDs go up. And you get to age 100 and you still have 315,000. It goes to your heirs and it's taxable to them. This will never happen this way. I'm going to show you again why you need to be considering tax-free income. Let's go all the way up to the beginning. And let's suppose you're here and you got 1, 2, 3 years, and you end up at the end of the third year with 565,831, But the next year, as it happened in 2022, the market drops 20%. Now, in 2023, the market would have had to gone up 25% just to break even. And if you're drawing down an account and your fees are coming out, you need to have more than 25, maybe 30% before you break even. Well, that didn't happen. You didn't get 25%. So now you're down 2 years, remember. Now 2 years. So, but let's look at this. So you have 565 and it goes down 20%. Where does that leave you? Well, if you do the quick math, that leaves you at $452,664. Not 575,906, 452,664, and on top of that, you took out your required minimum. Now, this required minimum distribution would be less because your account dropped, but you would still have money coming out, plus the fees coming out. You with me? Now, if you take 452,664 and you divide it by this annual distribution for your income that you had to take out, it goes 5 times. What does that mean? In 1 year, the account value drops 20% and it wipes out 5 years of income. 5 years. Gone. You're not getting that back. It'll grow again because the market rebounds. But remember, in 2023, it didn't break even and you had to take your required minimum distribution. You draw it down again. And not until you're well into 2024 did the market get up. And for you, remember, you're taking, that's 2 years. You took out in 22, you took out in 23. I mean, you took out in, say, 23 and 24. Now you're hitting 25. And you're thinking, maybe I've broken even. And what happened in 2025? It tanked again 30% by April. So that means that this scenario is not going to happen. That really means, and remember, 3 years out of 10, you're negative. Now you're going to run out of money, folks. You will run out of money. And remember, this is not even taxable. So do you really want to be forced to take income out if you don't want to or you don't need it? And do you want to be at the mercy of the markets that could wipe out 5 years just like that of income? So this is why you don't want to be in a position where you have to take any money out if you don't want to, or take what you feel like taking out. Forget the RMDs. How can you do that? Your income has to be tax-free. So it's not subject to RMDs. How do you accomplish that? You accomplish that by Roth conversions or having your income coming out from a very specifically designed cash value life insurance policy that will pay you tax-free income and provide a tax-free death benefit. So if you get to the end of your life at 100 and there happens to be some money left, which probably is not going to happen, then instead of being taxed, it goes to your heirs tax-free. Now this applies no matter what age. If you're in your mid-60s or early 60s, you definitely want to look at whether a Roth conversion strategy is suitable and works for you. Otherwise, you're going to get to that required minimum distributions, and you're going to be taxed on the income that comes out, and you will be forced to take out what the government tells you to take out, which could spend down your account. On top of that, wouldn't it be nice if that tax-free income was guaranteed for life so that it was guaranteed never to run out, no matter what the market did? If the market tanks 20%, it doesn't affect your income at all. In fact, your income could still be increasing and it all be tax-free. That's called creating a personal pension plan that's tax-free. Again, you can do that with a Roth using the right product in that Roth, or you can do that with a cash value life insurance policy. If you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, do not put any money in a tax-deferred account like a 401k IRA where, hey, put money in here, you put your $5,000 a year, you won't have to pay taxes on that $5,000. That's bogus. That's a little bit of money on taxes you're going to save, but when you get into retirement, you will pay in taxes many, 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 many times more than you ever saved in taxes during the accumulation years. And then when you get to retirement, you don't have to worry about these required minimum distributions. And let me tell you why this is even more important. By the way, my name is Victor Cuevas with Victor for Advice. If you like the content in this video, please like it, subscribe, and share it. Now, here's the national debt clock as of February 3rd, and you see our national debt is $38.6 trillion. We see here that we're spending $7 trillion right now to run the government. And we go over here on the right side and we see that we're only bringing in 5.3 trillion. So we're in a hole 1.7 trillion. We're overspending our budget 1.7 trillion. How are we making up that deficit? We're printing the money. What does printing the money do? It just causes more inflation down the road. It devalues your dollar. 10 years down the road, you're paying less. You're getting less for your money. Why? Because we're printing money. So we have to take care of that, and they're not doing anything about it. But it gets even worse than that, folks, because you see here in 2019, the year before COVID, our national debt was at 22.7 trillion. We're at 38.7 right now. In 6 years, we went from 22.7 to 22.7 to 38.7. Gets worse than that, folks. In 2007, before the Great Recession of 2008 and the market dropped 40%, we were only at 9 trillion. So from 2007 to February of this year, we have more than quadrupled our debt. One other thing to show you. This is the graph of our tax brackets. The highest tax bracket started at 7% in 1913. It was at 94% during the Second World War, was in the 90s during the 50s, and during the 70s, it was at 70%. It took Ronald Reagan to come in and drop it down to 28%, and it's been up and down since then. We're at a 37% highest tax bracket. Now, folks, you might say, well, that's just for rich folks. Look, when it was at 94%, the lowest tax bracket was well over 20%, maybe 25% or so. Right now, the lowest tax bracket is 10. I want you to know, folks, that right now there is a dogfight, knockdown, drag out dogfight over taxation in Congress. And there are many, many people in Congress right now that would love to see a 70% tax bracket again. At least a 50% tax bracket. Why is that significant for you to know? Because when you get ready to retire someday, and we're at 38.7 trillion, and we've quadrupled in 18 years, where will we be in 18 years from now? Are we going to be at 100 trillion? We'll be forced to take tax brackets up to the 50, 70, or beyond. Well, could that happen? It could. Is the Congress going to get together and completely change the tax code and find a way for us to fund everything without doing things the way we've always done it? I don't know. But here's what you need to do. You need to not even worry about it. You need to set things up right now so that whatever happens with respect to taxes, it was not going to affect your retirement. I call it bulletproofing your retirement. And you can do it now if you're in your 60s, even early 70s, or you can do it if you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. Set it up right now. And if you don't, if you just, I don't care, I'll worry about it later. Lord knows what situation you could find yourself in retirement. Look, if you're going to work hard all your life, save for retirement, don't leave yourself vulnerable in a position where the government can take half of it or more. That's crazy. And then when you leave it to your heirs, they take some more. If this kind of gets you thinking that you might want to at least talk to me about getting yourself in a position not to have to ever worry about this, let me know. Let's set up a time to meet and we'll make it happen. Again, Victor Cuevas, Victor for Advice. God bless.